I'm going to make a video on how to find the mean and median of group data using Excel. And note, Excel is allowed on your final exam. So this is completely allowed, and this is something that you're allowed to use on the exam itself. Okay. So I can input my intervals. So I have 799 to 899.5. So something I'm interested in with my intervals is the width of my interval. So the width you can find by just taking the difference of the largest and the smallest endpoint. So in other words, the right end minus the left end of the interval. So I can see I have a width of 100. And then you can see my next interval is 899.5 to 999.5. So I can just save myself some typing and then just put equals B2 to grab that. And then I can just take this and add my width to it. And then I can just drag it down until I get to my 1299.5. Oh, went over a little bit there. Okay. And then if I want to carry my width all the way down, I can go ahead and do that. That will speed up some calculations later. All right. And then next, another interesting thing would be the midpoint of each one of the intervals. So to find the midpoint, I'm going to add up both ends of the interval and then divide by 2. Okay, and then through the magic of Excel, I can have it just repeat that same calculation all the way down and get me all of those. Okay, and then there's the frequency. Okay, so that's part of my data, so I need to enter that manually. So 3, 10, 21, 12, and 4. Okay, so now to find my mean, so my mean for group data, so my mean, which also known as X bar, is going to be the sum from I equals 1 to K of the midpoint of each one of my intervals, which I'll just refer to as Xi, times the frequency of each one of my intervals. Okay, and then that's all over N, but in this case, we weren't given N. We were given a bunch of frequencies. So to calculate N, we can just add up all of our frequencies. So there's kind of the long, scary version of the formula. And so you can see that we want to take the product of each midpoint with the corresponding frequency. So to do that, so midpoint times the frequency, I have this D2 times the frequency, E2, and then I can just copy that formula all the way down. Okay. All right. And then I want to add all of these up. So I want to calculate a total for that column. So I can use the equals sum function in Excel and then highlight those, press enter, and now I've added them all up. And then I also want to add up all of my frequencies. So I want to say equals sum, and then select all of these. Okay. And then to compute the mean, I'm just going to take this number divided by this number. Okay, so to get my mean, I took the, oops. So 52,875 divided by 50. And I got 1,057.5. Okay. So there's how to get the mean so far. All right, so that was the mean for grouped data. So now the median for group data. So we have a histogram that we can make based off of this. So this is not quite to, oh, my pen's not working. Let's try that again. There we go. So this is not going to be exact, but you know, I want something that's kind of close enough. All right, so we were making a histogram of this. So what's going on is we end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rectangles. They each have a width of 100. Let me display that a little bit better. Don't know why my annotate's not working very well today. So each one of these has a width just like we figured out in the Excel. The width is 100. Okay, and then this one has a height of 3. Maybe put that on the inside. 3, 10, 21, 12, 4. Okay, so the area for each one of these, so this one will be 300. Okay, come on, pen. It's just not my day-to-day with the pen. Okay, 300, 1,000, 2,100, 1,200, and 400. And I got each one of those, so I had 3 times 100 gave me the 300. 10 times 100 gave me the 1,000. And 21 times 100 gave me the 2,100. 12 times 100 gave me the 1200. And then finally, if my pen will let me write, 4 times 100 gave me the 400. And then I want to add all those up. So let's see. So 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So I have a 0 here, and then we're going to carry the 1. So 2, 4, 5,000. Okay, so then the total area is 5,000. Okay. And what we want to do is determine, okay, well, next the half area, well, we just divide that by 2. So 5,000 over 2, and I get 2,500. Okay, and we want to see where that occurs. So I'm at 300 here. So then these two together give me 1,300. And then these three together give me 3,400. So what that is telling me is by the time I get to this middle rectangle, that's where my median is going to be. So my median is going to be somewhere in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to split that rectangle into 2 parts. And what we want to do is we want to find the M that cuts into the width of this middle rectangle that will be our median. Okay, and in a minute I'll show how to do this in Excel, but basically what happens is we're going to have the 2,500. So we saw that we had the 300 plus the 1,000 plus, and then we have to split the width up. So it's going to be M, and then the lower part of that interval. So in that case, it was this interval here was the 999.5. Okay, and then the frequency for that interval was 21. So I'm going to multiply that by 21 because that was the height. And now I am all set up to find the median. Okay. So it just requires some basic algebra. Okay, so we subtract the 1,300 from each side. So I have 1,200 is equal to M minus 999.5 times 21. Okay, and then we're going to divide both sides by 21. So these cancel out, and I'll just kind of pick this up here. So now I have 1,200 over 21 is equal to M minus 999.5. And then I just add the 999.5 to each side. Okay, so then M is 995 or 999.5 plus 1200 over 21. Okay, and then we can just use a calculator to get that. Okay, so to 2 decimal places, I get 1056.64. Okay. And there I go. All right, so now I promised to show how to kind of shortcut this whole process in Excel, and that's exactly what I intend to do. So let me kind of clean this up and we'll jump into Excel and kind of continue with what we had here. So now here's an application of the cumulative frequency. So let's go ahead and find the cumulative frequency because I want to get at the cumulative area. So the easy way to do this in Excel is to copy that first cell, and then I'm going to take that previous cell and add to it the next frequency. And we can then just copy like from the second row on down to get the rest of the pattern. Okay, and as you can see, the last row for the cumulative frequency should be the same as the total for all of the frequencies. And we see we get that. Okay, and then we can get something called the cumulative area. So as we go down the histogram, we can compute the area as we go by just taking the cumulative frequency times the width. Okay. And there we go. So each row of the cumulative area is adding the next rectangle worth of area on. And then by the end, we can see we get the same total area. So what's nice about this is we get the total area out of this. So as you can see, the total area again is 5,000, and that's just built right in. So we get that. And then the half area which we need to find the median, is the 5,000 divided by 2 again. We get 2,500. And then what happens, you can go through the cumulative area, and as soon as you go past the 2,500, there's where your median is going to be. So we can see this is the row that contains the median. Okay, so it's going to lie somewhere between the 999.5 and the 1099.5. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set up that calculation again, except now we see, aha, there's the 1,300 already. We have our half area, and then we have the bottom end of that interval, and that all goes into the setup. So we have 2,500 is equal to 1,300 plus M minus 999.5 times the frequency to give us the height. So again, this M minus 999.5, that's the width of our partial rectangle, And then the height of the rectangle is still 21. And then again, we just go through the steps. And then we get M is equal to, let's see, what did we have? We had 999.5 plus 1200 over 21. And then we got, that was approximately 1056.64. Okay, so if you do it, you could certainly do it by hand, and you could also do it in Excel. Excel will help you have fewer mistakes computationally, as long as you're kind of using the formulas. Now, you know, there's still room for error, of course, but if you know what you're doing with the Excel, you can certainly make use of that and get done maybe just a little bit faster. That is, if you know, kind of practice it. Either way, it's, I think, you know, it's a little bit baffling at first, but hopefully after you go through it a few times, it starts to make sense. All right, thank you for watching. I hope this helps.